Good morning, class. I hope you're having a great day. Happy Wednesday. Well, today we're going to look at scientific notation again. I heard back from a lot of you that you are very comfortable with scientific notation. In fact, several of you said it was easy. But if you still need more practice, make sure you practice it until you're comfortable with it. If you're not familiar with scientific notation, it may not feel easy until you've done it multiple times. But today we're going to talk about using scientific notation by multiplying it and dividing it. Actually, I should write the word divide here too. Multiplying and dividing. Okay. If you're taking notes, which I hope you are, this might be a good time to write down our A, B, and C. Give yourself a little bit of space. First, we're just going to really quickly review scientific notation and point out that it means multiplication. Then second, we're going to talk about matching powers and decimals, powers with powers and decimals with decimals. That's a good method for multiplying. But then ultimately, for these problems, just use your calculator. Just make sure if you're dividing that you put the top part, the numerator, in parentheses, and you put the bottom part, the denominator, in parentheses. So this would be a good time to pause the video and write these notes down. Okay, so scientific notation, let's look at an example. What is a scientific notation? Well, it's going to look like this. This is your worksheet for today, by the way. Here, this is scientific notation because it has a decimal after the first number, and same with this one. And it's times 10 raised to a power. And this is times 10 to the 0 power. So that means actually this one doesn't change at all. The answer to this is 1.22. But in order to write it in scientific notation, even if you don't move the decimal, you have to write it times 10 to an exponent, times 10 to a power. So if the decimal doesn't move, it's times 10 to the 0. But anyway, a scientific notation always has a decimal part and a power of 10 part. So if you don't have a calculator and you're multiplying, it's really easy to take the decimal part and multiply it with the decimal part. And sometimes what you end up with is it moves it to the next decimal place. Like let's say I was multiplying 3 times 4. Well, that would be 12. So we'd have 2 decimal places. Or 5 times 9, that'd be 45. So that'd be, again, an extra decimal place. Okay, now why is that important? Well, at the very end, your answer needs to be in scientific notation. So do decimal times decimal. And then do the power times the power. Well, the bases are going to be always the same. So how do you multiply a power times a power? You add the exponents. Let's go ahead and use the example here. But like I said, you can just use your calculator. If we were going to do it by hand, though, and I'm going to cheat because I'm actually going to use calculator for the decimal part. We multiply the decimals together. You can do that using multiplication. Hopefully you guys remember how to multiply by lining them up. But again, for the sake of time, I'm going to do this by hand. I'm going to do it with a calculator, not by hand. Okay? And you guys are allowed to use it, calculator, for the test and for all the practice problems. Okay, so that's 2.928. No new decimal places. So we have 2.9, what was that? 2.928. Okay. Be careful with the Khan Academy assignments because they want you to write out all the decimal places. Last night I tried one and I rounded. I approximated. I only went to 2 decimal places and it didn't like that. It wants you to do keep writing out the decimal until you only have zeros. Okay, now how are we going to do this part? We have 10 to the negative second and 10 to the 0. Remember, what we do when we're multiplying, we add the exponents. So I have negative 2 plus 0. Okay, that's really insightful. What's negative 2 plus 0? Well, it's negative 2, right? So I'm adding that power plus that power. So that's going to be times 10 to the negative second power. Cool? Let's look at this one below it. 7 times 2 is 14. By the way, that's your answer. And now we're going to multiply the exponents together. 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 3rd. We're going to multiply these powers together, not the exponents. What do we do with the exponents when we multiply a power? We add. So that's going to be 10 to the 8th. Except we need to write this in scientific notation. So I need to move the decimal place over one spot. Boom, right there. And that's going to change this to 10 to the 9th power. Okay? And that is your answer. All right, so what about dividing? Well, for dividing, you can do the same thing. Divide the decimal with the decimal, and then divide the exponent with the exponent, and make sure it's still written in scientific notation. But like I said, just use your calculator. So I'm not even going to show you the long way of doing it. Let's just do this. Just use your calculator. But make sure when you're dividing, you put the top part in parentheses and the bottom part in parentheses. Okay? So let's look at this. 5.1 times 10 to the negative 4th. So we're just going to clear this out. Whoops. I'm going to put it in parentheses. 5. Is it 4? 5.1. Okay. 5.1 times 10. I'm going to hit this button right here to the negative 4th. Okay? And parentheses. That's the top. And notice I put it in parentheses, both parts, the decimal part and the power part. Now we're going to divide that, and this is very important. This is where you have to put it in parentheses. If you forget the top, it's going to be okay. But do not forget to put the denominator in parentheses, or else you'll get the wrong answer. Okay, 9.6 times 10 to the 0. 9.6 times 10 to the 0. Mr. John, are you really putting 10 to the 0? Yes, because I just want to make sure you see exactly how to do it. But I didn't really, for this example, 10 to the 0 we know is 1. But I want you to see exactly how you do it. And boom, there's your answer. Now you have to convert it to scientific notation. So let's count how many decimal places there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let me count that again. How many spots am I moving in the decimal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so is that going to be positive 5 or negative 5? Is this a big number or is it a little number? Well, this is a little number. It's less than 1, so that makes it a little number. So that means it's going to be negative. So my answer is going to be, let's say 5.31. We'll just round for this one. But on Khan Academy, don't round. Okay, so it's 5 yeah, 5.31 times 10 to the negative 5th power. Okay? And you can circle that and say, I did a good job. I used my calculators. Please, on your worksheet, put parentheses around the numerator and denominator before you submit it, or if you're writing it out by hand, just so that I can see that you did it. At least do that for 1 or 2 of them, okay? So I can see that you're typing it in parentheses. All right, hope you guys are having a good day. Bye.